when I when I got out of university, I went up to Swan Hill to my articles up there because Malleson's offered me a fiver. Garden and Green offered me £25, plus an extra tenner if I played for the Swan Hill football. I might say that tenner quickly evaporated after every game.
My profession has spanned all sorts of aspects of the law, from city, interesting life, to the country, which I guarantee is the best way to practice law in a country practice.
I have one brief story from 51 years ago. I went to a Bucks night, black tie operation, and we adjourned after the Bucks night to the Paran 2 Up Club. The police arrived about 1:30 a.m. in the morning, and we were all taken to the Paran police station. There was probably 40 plus people. The operator of the 2 Up Club was a guy called Bluey Nappet, and he said, "Don't worry fellas, it'll all be fixed. They'll let you out in an hour or two and just go home." Well, I think 41 of the 42 gave a false name, and I was getting a bit nervous at that stage, so I, possibly stupidly, but anyway in hindsight, I gave them my name, and then I discovered 5 days later that I'd been convicted of being in a common gaming house. So that was my first meeting with Arthur Haymanson. My father, who actually started the first suburban practice, I think it's debated between him and Jim O, because they were within a week of one another. Anyway, he said, "You better go and see Arthur Haymanson," and there had been a case of someone who had stolen petrol out of a car at 16, didn't declare it, and I think the High Court ruled that the board was right to not permit them to practice at that time. Anyway, cut the long and short, I did this declaration, you can imagine how I felt, and the next thing I found, I was summoned to the Supreme Court library before 3 Supreme Court judges. I've never shaken so much in my life, and I was there for about 2 minutes when one of the judges, whose name won't be disclosed, said, "Mr. Clements, describe to us how the game is played." And suffice to say, they let me in.
I did my articles with Barnett, Rockman and Co in Frankston, and they were the days when doing articles outside of the CBD was almost unheard of. What I do remember about that practice was that Barney was very early into marketing, way ahead of most other lawyers in those days, and his marketing tool was to use green typewriting. And some of you out there may remember that, but it was a horrible green type colour, but we all had to use that in our correspondence. But when it came to formal documentation, we didn't use the green type colour, thankfully.
I stayed with Armstrong, Collins and Delacy until about 12 years ago when I retired. I was going to take up farming full time, but did a little bit of gentle mediation on the side. That has now become a full-time job. However, it suits me very well. No staff, no clients.
An old mentor of mine, Lindsay Bruce, who practiced in Narrabri, said to me, "You remember the Shakespearean statement, Mick? Oh, what a wicked web we weave when first we practice to the sea." He said, "That's wrong. It's actually, oh, what a wicked web we weave when first we practice, full stop."
I was reflecting today as I was reading about Boomer Harvey playing his 437th game tomorrow. And I thought there's greater longevity in law than there is in AFL football. He will have played after tomorrow 427 games. I calculated if you allow 1 week a game, my equivalent is 2,500 games, allowing for injury, hip replacement and holidays. Thank you.
I was very fortunate that I had articles with Purpose and Purpose where I stayed for 7 years, and then I was told you can't trust women because they're irresponsible and don't have any stability. I was 7 months pregnant at the time. When I said, maybe I'll come back after the baby's born. What? Anyway, it's been a long, wonderful journey. I probably wouldn't do it again, but I'm glad I did it this time.
Many years ago, there was a great bookie robbery in the club. People would know about that, and one of the customers we had was a gentleman named Albert Smith. He was a rails bookmaker. He was Leviathan of the turf at the time. He had a few problems. He was a very upright, beautiful man, but he had trouble keeping his fly undone. That meant that he had some relationships that were a little bit dicey. And in the great bookie robbery, of course, one of the real problems was no one knew how much money was there because it was all cash. But Albert had a winning probability ticket worth $48,000 for the TAB. So our task was to try and recover this money for Albert from the TAB. End of the story was we got the money subject to Albert giving an undertaking that if somebody else filed the ticket, he had to give the money back.
Well, I was admitted on April Fool's Day, and I also acted for the Pakenham Sewerage Authority, so that's the kind of lawyer I am. By far, that's been the most interesting and satisfying part of my career, a sole practitioner.
Lawyers are only as good as their last case, and I can assure you all this is not my last case, and I'm sure for many of you this is not your last case.
The legal profession won't survive unless they grab technology and take it with a big jump and get on with it.
Well, I think all I want to say is that I have enjoyed my 50 years, the last 50 years. I can't think of anything else that I might have done that I would have enjoyed more. And all I say is long live the Law Institute.
Yeah, and thanks to the Institute for the support it gives to sole practitioners like myself. It's great to have that support, so thank you very much.
And I can say that my entire working career as a solicitor was with one firm. I don't have any funny stories, but I do recall the time when a couple of bullet holes appeared in our front door, glass front door, and I took this as a badge of honour. And I'm sorry to say that John McMillan and his present partner at Phillips and Wilkins have replaced that glass so that there are no more bullet holes to be proud of.